That's
Well, how do you
Bob
do it?
Shills.
Hi, and welcome to OUYA Hangouts. My name is Bob. With me is my good friend and coworker, Mr. Alex Doherty.
You're supposed to tell me when to start these recordings.
Boom! Coming in with energy, going to introduce from somewhere in the Seattle, Washington area, Mr. Tim Groutman.
That's me.
From a bunker somewhere in the Culver City region, Mr. Jared Yeager.
Hello, everyone.
So far, we've introduced OUYA Actual, and now we can pop over to our guest, returning once again, Mr. Cohen Hacking.
Yay!
There you go. New person in the hangout. Oh, Eddie, where'd you go?
Eddie's one of my friends. He's a good animator.
Oh, okay. Eddie, I don't know your last name.
Gibbons.
Gibbons.
I said it right there at the top.
Did it?
Yeah.
Hey, Eddie. All right. Well, so intros are out of the way.
Yep.
We can get down to brass tacks,
Oh no.
as they say.
Uh
How do you feel about that?
huh. Sure.
Okay, let's do it. Let's talk about OUYA submissions. So developer is making a game, they submit a game, and they can run into some sorts of pitfalls or any sorts of challenges. And we like to anticipate some of those challenges in a segment that we like to call DERP with Doherty.
All right. So recently, a developer wanted to update their game, and they had run into a previous issue where they hadn't put the key store together correctly, and so they needed to update it and change all the data. But one thing they did, which is a tool a lot of people have access to but don't use appropriately, is mark their game available nowhere, because they wanted to get rid of the first game and fix it and change it with their new game. But basically, what that does is it just hides it, and then it can continue to throw off stats because it still is published, it's just people don't see it. So the best thing to do is get in contact with us and let us know that you want to archive it, and then we can actually archive that for you to make the transition when you're changing something about your game. And we can also help you manually change the title of your game if you want to update the title or something. And we can do text updates for game descriptions, like if you submit it and you realize you left something out you want in there. So instead of going through the whole process of resubmitting the game just to make like a one-sentence text change, you can get in contact with us as well for that kind of stuff.
Maybe like devs at OUYA.tv. Office hours at.
Yeah, office hours at, or just email me, Alex at OUYA.tv, and then we'll get it solved.
So what's like a problem with like what's the big deal if I put it as available nowhere and just let it decay? Does it just throw off my analytics or something?
Yeah, and basically it'll prevent people who might need the new version of the game or whatever from finding the new one, because they'll be stuck with their old version of the game, and they're never going to see an update. And so it just makes it harder on everyone, and on us too, because it throws off our analytics.
So this is an incident where you have misplaced your key store, is that right?
Yes, exactly.
So can you talk about key store really quick too?
Yeah, it's more complicated than I'll present it, but basically a key store is a file that you have on your computer, and your engine can reference it, and it basically creates a signature for your APK. And so then when you upload an APK to the server, it'll verify that the signatures match, and it will allow you to update your game and prevent other people from updating your game with something else that's not from you. So what some people run into, which was a recent thing, someone uploaded a version of a game that was free to the server but added a product to it, and then suddenly everyone else thought it was, or everyone else's console showed it as having a price even though it had been free. And so that interfered. So having like a proper key store and everything would have prevented that. So just weird privacy, security issues.
I imagine. So you're in your engine, and that's where you generate a key store?
Yeah, it depends. We've actually got a upcoming thing soon where we show how to do it in Unity.
Yeah.
and I don't know every engine and how they work, but
Is that right, Tim?
Yeah, you can make a key store on the command line, or you can use Unity, and it's nice when the engines have a nice GUI for it. So.
Yeah. Me and Alex were playing with. That's why I asked. Me and Alex are playing with Unity, and yeah, there's just the GUI as you just said to do it. But I made
Otherwise, otherwise you run this command line thing, and it prompts you for all those fields, and then it just makes one. So.
Okay. Cool. Is that? Do you have that sort of info in our docs?
I have it in a text file that I share with myself, but I could put it into the docs, make a video about it.
Okay,
Because
cool.
it's pretty useful. Anytime you're shipping a game, you need one. So.
Okay. Yeah, that's a good idea. Joining us live via satellite, Kelly Santiago.
Hey!
I can't read your thing, but that might be my computer. What do we do next? Oh, we head over to the land of Mr. Tim Groutman, where Tim usually talks with us about some amount of hopefully entry-level programming. Sometimes it's very specific. Sometimes it's
not entry level.
Yeah, sometimes it's very difficult, but it's always fun. And it's a segment that we like to call Grok with Groutman.
Cool. All right, so a couple issues came up this week, and with the Unity plugin, for whatever reason, when you import that core package, not all the files were being imported. So sometimes you just have to import it again. When you import, you kind of get a checklist for all the files, and if some files were unchecked or whatever, they weren't coming across, and then importing the whole set was working okay. So happened a couple different times, but that's definitely something that happened last week. Over the weekend, I was working on my sock, so I can successfully import a sock into Fuse. So I thought I'd show you guys that process. It's pretty cool. So for that, I'll have to share my screen. And I've done it at least 3 different times, so I wouldn't say professional sock maker, but I make socks.
You're talking about like socks on feet?
Yeah, over the feet.
Yeah.
Okay.
Not some fancy acronym.
Yeah, there is socks, which was shorthand for when I was writing documentation. They'd say socks for Serbain and Oxley, whatever. But no, this is just regular socks. Okay. So, yeah, so I figured out how to like import my own models. Like I chopped off his arm, and under clothing.
This is Mixamo Fuse.
Yeah, this is Mixamo Fuse.
Could you just briefly describe it in case people haven't been following every week?
Okay, cool. So Mixamo Fuse is a way to snap together models. It's available in the Unity Asset Store. And if I start with a new model, it's as simple as you assemble characters. So you can pick between various heads. And it puts all the pieces together. And then it's got a bunch of different blend shapes so that you can customize the face. And I learned a little trick where you can right-click any of the models, and it says Add Matching Parts. And when you click that, it adds all the pieces for that particular character set. Now, you can mix and match other pieces, but generally in the presets, it's good to just pick all the same for the same model so that it looks the same. And so what is Fuse? It's a quick way to create a character that you can customize so that you get a lot of different variations of characters. And then you can put clothing on them, and then it auto-rigs it when you hit the Animate tab. So it'll automatically upload it to Mixamo and then download it, and then it's ready for your various game engine. So, and then that lets you retarget a bunch of like motion capture animations. So you can quickly make a character and have them running around and put them right into your game. And then at some point when you've got all that working, then you want to put some clothes on them, or your own clothes, instead of all the other there's a few presets here, but you might want to make your own shirt or socks. So bottoms.
Or pants.
Oh yeah, and I had made some different bottoms, but I was doing it for the zombie. But I think it might work. There we go. So I made my own pants. Now a funny thing happened where the first time I tried to make pants, it came out like that, and so I found a way, the ultimate way to import so that you can get it to respect the different transform. And then
Was
once
he
you
a
got
rapist
imported,
zombie? Was he a rapist zombie?
no, he he just got his clothes hooked on something, and he was determined to get out of there and eat somebody. But once you import, then you can select the fabric and use all the customized colors and whatnot. Let's see. Here we go. And so the existing substances will appear. And another cool thing is it's got this color mask. So the different colors you can actually so I can assign the belt a different substance, and I can assign like the belt buckles and the belt loops, and I'll show you how to paint that. Okay, so for getting started to make your own clothes though, this model, I modified it, and really you want to start with the original model before it has the blend shapes applied. So that's like, if I start with a new model, okay, we go to the Assemble tab. I just want to pick like the male skinny zombie, and again, it's pretty convenient. I can just right-click the head and say add all the matching parts, and it'll automatically grab all the pieces that go with that zombie. Cool. So there he is. And I import this first character before I've adjusted any of these customized sliders and made them big and small. That way I know when I put the clothes back in here, it's going to fit with those sliders and blend shapes, and it'll be like the pants will show up at the right spot. Okay, so now that we have the zombie in here, the first step, we just export him as a model, which is a OBJ file, and the defaults are okay. And then I made a demo folder. Okay, so this is the male skinny zombie A. Male skinny zombie A. Okay, and once we export his model, then I can switch over to a modeling program. Now I just prefer using Modo because that's the pipeline I figured out so far. Okay, and right in Modo, if I go to the modeling tab, I can open the guy we just exported. Demos, male skinny zombie. There we go. Import him. And there we go. And if we export them with clothes, at this point, like, you can double click on any of the different parts, and they're kind of their own polygon sets. So I could like take a shirt and make a different shirt. But in this case, I want to use the existing foot here to make some clothes around it. Okay, so really quick, making a sock. I typically just make a new mesh layer, and then I just grab some existing polygons. So that's one way to do it, or I can middle select. There we go. Okay, so if I want a sock for this foot, I basically invert the selection and hide everything else so that I can use the topology tools, and it will just affect the one foot. And then I was doing my edge loop process. Okay. So the first thing I was grabbing was this polygon loop here, and I just copy that and paste it to this other layer. And this will be the layer for my sock. I just make that a little bit bigger. And then I just quickly model a sock. So I did the edge extend, and I bring it down. And first thing I want is these lists, and I just want to get rid of the existing texture map because that way it's easier to look at. Okay, and then I usually make my other layer like that so I can see what's going on. And actually I do it the other way. So I make the background layer like that and my foreground layer wireframe. Now I can see what I'm doing. There we go. Okay. Now I was extending this edge down here. And I just make sure it fits around the foot a little bit. Okay. And move it up. Okay, and then extend that edge. Just bring it over here. And then I basically shrink wrap the sock around these places, assuming everything is going to fit. And it helps if I make it really big so that nothing pokes through. All right, so there's a basic sock. Now if I switch back to looking at it normal, I had it's nice that you have your polygons uniform, like about the same size. So I use the mesh edit tab and I just do a loop slice and I break that into 4 segments. So they're about the same size, and it just helps, like if I use any of the substances, it helps them so that like a checkered pattern isn't really big in a certain area and then smaller in another. So that visually it looks okay. And then I do the same thing to the other side. Okay. And cap off the other side. Okay, cool. So there is my initial sock, and now comes the shrink wrap process. So I just switch the topology tab here, select the polygons that I want to affect, and there's this nice smooth tool that I can just click in here, and it automatically fits that topology like right over the old mesh. And I can also, when I was applying this tool, it has this offset, and if I set it to about 500 millimeters, it'll kind of extend a little bit around the foot so that it's not right on the so no geometry is poking through. And actually, I might want to increase it even more to like a meter. Okay. And then there's this one spot in the back that is poking through, which I can fix on the modeling tab. Because when you import your clothes, you don't want pieces like that sticking out. And on the paint tab, this is where I use the sculpting stuff.
That's like always the part on the sock that does wear out, though.
Yeah, it does. It does. And that's probably why, because it's stretched around there. So I can set a sphere of influence, and I can just make sure that it's not sticking out. And there we go. If I make my inactive layer solid, I'll be able to see any places where it's sticking through. There we go. Okay, that's not helping. Let's see. There we go. Make sure it's going in the right direction. Find any holes. Almost got it. Come on.
You are
There
the
we go.
finest virtual tailor around.
Yes, yes, yes. Okay, and then if I can smooth it out a little bit. Okay, but let's just say this is our sock. Needs a little bit bigger around the toes.
Yeah.
Okay, and a little bit over here.
Give us the gift of a grip top sock.
All right. This is programmer modeling. I like my sock. Okay, cool. And in sub-D mode, it's smoothed out. So even though it's looking a little, there we go. So someone will be able to tell that yes, it is a sock.
That's a sweet sock. Shin high. Huh,
It's getting a
what's
little
going on?
wonky here.
Man, you're like stretching fabric or something. Like
I must have gone through the other side. There we go. He broke his bones in there.
It's like that's like modern art right there. You'd see that in the
There
Getty.
you go. Yeah. Okay, let's just say we're happy with that.
I'm
Okay.
happy with that.
And this top loop here, if I extend that a little bit and bring it in,
Whoop.
and then extend it one more time, bring it in,
Extend.
and down. Now it's kind of like a sock. Okay, and we'll just put that around that zombie leg.
Blah.
Wow. Okay. Given more time, I could really make that worse. Okay. Now we can the next step on the UV tab. Delete the old UVs.
Stripe socks.
And then we do a texture. This is going to turn this into a nice little atlas. Okay, there we go. And this UV map is, it tells you for your 3D model, texture, and now save as, and back to the demo. Okay, so this is a awesome sock, and we'll call this awesome sock object, and save that. Okay, and now we switch back over to Fuse. And we're just going to import that as clothing. So File, Import clothing. We go to where we exported, which was the awesome sock. There's the awesome sock. Next, and then you give it a category for where it's going to show up. So we'll say under shoes. We started with the male skinny zombie, so I'll do the math for that model. And then next, and the color mask, I didn't show you that yet, but if you supply a color mask, that tells it what areas, like if we want to do the stripe and the heel and the toe, we could specify a color map so that you can have different substances for those areas. And then next, and then in this tab you can name the different parts. Okay, and then finish. And it's going to think about that sock for a little bit. So it's adding, Fuse has a database of all the different clothes, and it's analyzing the sock, and it's building, adding it to the database. It's going through, like, I think it goes through all the blend shapes, and it computes like how to apply that sock to other characters. And actually, I think it's probably chugging because I didn't isolate that sock. So because this other,
You always isolate your sock, Tim.
yes, because the rest of the zombie is still there. So I actually wanted to copy this sock to its own scene. So we're going to do a new scene. Oops. Let's copy the polygons. There we go. So if I put it in a new scene, paste it, Okay, now we're going to have a model that's just the sock, which is what we really wanted. Okay, so I'll
Matt
save
loves
that.
talk too.
Yes. Okay, so this becomes an OBJ, and I'll call it awesome sock 2. Save it. Make sure that the UVs are generated. Okay, when I save it. Okay, cool. And then back in Fused Land, I'll import that clothing again. Awesome sock 2. This time it'll go faster because it's just the sock. Okay, it's going to the shoes category. Awesome sock 2. Write the model. Next, finish. Okay. So it imports it. It's going to generate a thumbnail that we'll see in our little selector over here. And now we can go over to the clothing tab and shoes. And there's awesome sock. And it imported the whole model there. So if you don't like something you've imported or you have a new version of it, you just right click it and you say delete clothing, yes, and discard your existing, and it'll take it out of the database.
Would you be able to mirror image flip it for the other foot, or would you have to do it
Oh, I
again?
totally could. Yeah, you can mirror image for the other foot. It helps if you use the geometry, like you could do 2 different socks and.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so symbol. Okay, so I'm going to add the zombie that we made the sock for. And I'll add its matching parts. Okay, and now on the clothing tab, there's our awesome sock 2, and I can just click it, and there's the awesome sock. And how we were pushing out the polygons, we could push it a little there. And of course, you know, if you're going to spend more time on it, you'll really like smooth it out and not make it look totally terrible.
A franchise character here.
Yeah. Okay,
Yeah.
and then you can customize it. So you click on your sock, or click texture tab, click on the sock, and then you can add, if you click on the different color areas that you've done, then you can add your pattern to it, and there's our sock.
Merry Christmas.
There you go. All right.
Nice.
Now there's a couple more steps. If we wanted to do some, like a stripe on the sock. So if we go to the Paint tab, look at our sock up close. It needs a new image. So I'll add a new image. Okay, we'll put it into the demo. Okay, so I usually use PNG, and this is our awesome sock color. Okay. And switch to the painting tools, brush it, and if we do blue, it has a few different colors for which you'll see it when we import. You just paint those colors on your sock. So, okay, then we click on the display, the list. We tell it we're using texture mask. Hey, we made the color mask, but we have to drag and drop it up over here. There we go. Okay, and then you can paint where your stripe would be. Okay, and one thing, it had this body parts thing I imported. Here, drag and drop the awesome mask back on there. There we go. So now it's just the mask that we were painting and not the extra. When I copied it from the other zombie model, it was bringing its material across, and I just want to have just from scratch. Okay, and then we just save this guy as awesome sock number 3. Okay, and then we go over back to Fuse and import more clothing. Awesome sock number 3. Okay, next. Okay, and then here's this color mask. So you can specify the demo color mask we did. And then here's the different names that it's going to display over here when you're doing your fabrics. So you could say the red part or the default part is just the main sock. And then the blue part we did is the stripe. And then it'll have that name over here or somewhere. Okay, we finish importing that. It's going to make a thumbnail. Okay, then we go to the clothing tab, and there's our awesome sock number 3. It's gone. I made it transparent or something.
Well, you only have 2 feet, so you don't need a third sock.
Yeah, I don't know, but it did have the main and the stripe. I made it transparent or something. Okay, anyways,
So you made pantyhose.
yeah, it's gone. Where did my sock go? It's right there.
Well, that's what happens, right? You lose one in the wash.
Hello.
It must be.
Hello.
All right, maybe it's because I needed to paint the rest red so that you can see that the regular part of the sock. Red. Oh, you know what? I didn't save the texture, so it thought it was all transparent. Okay. That makes sense. So with a transparent texture, it makes your whole sock transparent, and it's how you do the holes for a zombie. So if you want to see the leg behind it. So like if I wanted a hole in my sock, probably around the heel. Okay, and then we do our, make sure that it's completely blue. Okay, we do our quick stripe.
All right. All right.
Do we have any Q&A?
No. Marcelo says hi. I think that you've just like thoroughly covered socks, though.
Okay.
But we've not thoroughly covered the foot
With a sock.
with a sock.
Good plan.
Do you want a 2-minute warning? I'll give you a 2-minute warning, Tim.
That's all right. We're almost done. All right.
Okay.
So if I save everything, save it. Okay, then I needed to save the mask basically. All right. And
You should rename this to Ski Boot, though, instead of sock.
I had an
When a zombie breaks his ankle, you put it in that cast.
there you go. Okay, import the mask. Next. Okay, so that was our main fabric, and then the blue was our stripe. Okay, it's going to import it and then generate a thumbnail. And this time, because I didn't save a completely transparent mask. Okay, there we go. See how it has the stripe in there now? Okay, great.
Yay!
Okay, it's visible. It's got our stripe. And then when you texture this guy,
It's good.
You can say-
Toes are hanging out.
Stinky
Yeah, you
zombie
can-
sock.
That's
you can
awesome.
set the pieces individually. This guy has a super expensive like leather stripe.
Yeah. Hipster zombie.
All right, and that's it. So you saw like you can import your own clothes right in the Fuse. And then the cool thing is we could animate this guy running around with with that sock.
Snakeskin.
So I'll do that while we're talking about other stuff, and then you'll be able to see a running around weird sock.
Cool. Okay. Well then, there's a lot of stuff going on, and typically I pop over to Mr. Jared Yeager to say, and I say something along the lines of,
What's up, Jared?
What's up, Jared?
What's up?
And then he says, hey, and then we say like, is there any relevant OUYA news? And we still have yet to come up with an alliterative name for Jared's segment.
Jamming?
All right, so either way, I'll
Jive
pass it on to Jared with just the facts with Jared. Oh, it's awesome. Okay.
Just the facts. Ooh. All right.
So there's a lot.
Just the facts with PAX. How about that? So,
What could you be talking
if you received the dev newsletter from the other week, we're going to be at PAX, namely Bob, Alex, and Tim with socks. So we've got a link out that was in that dev newsletter for submitting your games so that you could be playable at PAX at our booth. And I'm going to be reposting the link for you to submit through our Google Doc form on Twitter and Facebook after office hours, in case you still don't have your dev newsletter handy. I had a few people write to us saying, oh, I lost my dev newsletter, or maybe I didn't get it. So I want to make sure that's out there. You have until the 10th to submit. Just in general background, it can already be a live game. It can be a game in progress. Doesn't matter what the state really is. So submit it to us, and we will check it out. Again, we cannot provide passes for PAX, but if you're there, obviously come by the booth. We'll have your game there, and we'll be happy to take pictures and all that good stuff. So stay tuned for more info on that setup. Also, on the 10th is the last day that you can register and launch a Kickstarter campaign tied to Free the Games, where we match your goal. So go to the site, make sure you sign up now if you're still planning to do that, and launch by the 10th. Again, your campaign does not have to end by the 10th. It just needs to launch by the 10th. So we've got some campaigns that are going to be running into September. So definitely make sure you sign up there. On the Free the Games home front here, just also want to announce we've now reached our 16th and 17th successfully funded projects with the Zarnok Fortress, an action platforming adventure from Attila, I'm going to butcher this name here, Attila Branglitsky. I totally did a terrible job with that. And Crucible by Davis Ray Sickman Jr., who also did Jumpman Forever. Those have both been funded now, and it looks like Enchanted Kingdom by CG Development is 90% of the way there. So congrats to them almost being at their goal. We've got quite a few games still out there that are working towards their funding goal, including Bolt Riley, which has returned from Oded Sharon. He's doing a 7-day Blitz campaign. Looks like already about 25% of the way there. We also have Captain Bra 2. If you're on Discover right now, you'll see they actually put the original Captain Bra out there. It is B-R-A-W-E, by the way, so I'm not actually saying Captain Bra. So that's out there. You can check it out. They'll give you an idea of what the Kickstarter game will be like. It's a sequel to that. So that's free to try. And they also do a link, I think, to the Kickstarter video from that. So pretty good adventure gameplay there. Demon's Hex is also still in the running. We got Mukashi, Fire with Fire, Online Tower Attack and Defense, Stasis, New Age Real-Time Strategy Game, Fump, Snot, which is about a snail, and Vrildis Shmup by Stephen Brown. Then The Adventures of Sancho in Rusmus, the video game. And finally, we have Elysian Shadows that is live right now, kind of tearing up the charts right now. They've got about 150K goal, and they're cruising right now. So that will launch simultaneously on OUYA, Dreamcast, PC, Mac, and Linux if they meet their goal. Another one that's coming down the pipe is Super World Carts. They had a campaign before, and they're ramping up for a second try. They did pretty well before, and I think they revised their goal, and now they've got some pretty sweet cameo appearances already planned for the game from Whispering Willow, So Many Me, Lobo Destroyo, another successful Free the Games campaign, Fist of Awesome, Duck Game, Read-Only Memories, and more. The last little tidbit I wanted to share and actually be a good handoff to Mr. Cohen Hacking is, I believe, the latest DLC update for Shadowlight is going to be launching on the 8th. Is that correct?
Yes, that's correct.
Cool. You want to give us some more info about that?
Yeah, I can show you something. Screen share.
I see stocks. You got to put the Saturday Night Fever music to that.
So, I don't know if you can hear this, but
I can see it.
okay, that's good enough.
I see the evil giant Shadowlight coming after you. Is this specifically from your DLC?
Yeah, this is from my DLC. This is the last level.
I haven't checked our Ouyans yet. Oh, I see some of those little platforms in the disappearing. I haven't checked Ouyans yet. Have you already submitted this and it's already been approved, or?
I will submit it today or tomorrow because I had a small bug, but I still want to fix that.
Cool.
So this includes 11 new levels, 10 from the world, and 1 bonus level, which I can show you too. Some pretty cool.
Now, does your bad guy need a sock?
Wrapped and ready to go.
Well, tell us, as we're watching this, for people who maybe aren't familiar with the game, tell us more about it, what we're looking at.
Yeah, so you're basically a robot, and you jump around, and you catch diamonds and coins and rubies, and yeah, you gotta get the crystals and the lanterns.
And the whole time you've got that, you've got the monster chasing you across the level.
Yeah, that other level was the boss level.
Gotcha.
So
and do you have to collect? Do you have to collect the crystals, or is it just for extra points, or how
no,
are
the crystals are how to finish the level, like the stars in Super Mario Galaxy, or like the pole in Super Mario Brothers, like that. And then you have the lanterns, which are collectibles.
And then the coins, what do they do for you?
The coins don't do anything at the moment, but I'm adding something that will give purpose to the coins.
Yeah, and I believe one of the things that you were mentioning before. I know you're currently in the alpha beta channel. What phase do you consider the game in right now?
Almost stable.
Cool, almost stable. I think every release game, whether it's a gold master or beta, could probably also go under that that title. I don't know if I've ever played a 100% stable game.
No, yeah, there are some problems with obliquant surfaces. Wait, no, not that word. How do you say that?
Are you talking about physics? So concave surfaces versus oblique?
Oblique, yeah, right. Oblique surfaces. Sometimes you don't stick to the platform, and that causes some trouble. And it doesn't make it feel fair in the gameplay, and that's a problem. But I tried to fix it. I hope I did. So I can show you something else too if you want.
Yeah, and you made this whole game on your own, right?
Yeah. These shaders are actually not with the Unity package, but these are full CG shaders. These are not built with the Unity stuff.
So you've made your own shaders.
Yeah, like I can show you that.
Yeah, shaders are a special kind of voodoo.
So you have this one, glow, not this one, gradient. So normally you surface shader, which is made for Unity, and it automatically does things with the shadows, and the light is automatically passed through to that shader, and then you have this other way of voodoo, and this is doing everything on my own. Like I have to pass through the position of a vertex and the screen position, all these things. So what happens in the shader? I pass through the position of the vertex and the screen position, and then I pass that through to the fragment shader, and based on the world coordinate, I give it a color, the point on the screen.
Cool. We can't actually see your shader source right now.
No? Oh, right.
Still looking at Unity.
Great. Yeah, normally it switches, and wait, let me
There we
I
go.
was talking about it and you couldn't see anything, you didn't say anything.
Yeah.
Okay. Anyway, so this is, you can see my mouse, right?
Yep, yeah, we see it
Okay.
now.
So,
So this is a Shader Lab syntax, and you've got a CG program within Shader
no.
Lab, which includes some of Unity's built-in shader source, which gives you probably some of the surface shader code that you can rely on. And then you've specified your own vertex and fragment program.
Yeah, that's the normal CG syntax. This is what you pass through to Unity. This will appear in the editor.
Yeah, so the Unity inspector will actually show those properties at the top, so that your artists will work with those kind of things.
Yeah. Then you go to the subshader and the pass. Mostly you only need one pass on mobile because it wouldn't run out otherwise.
Yeah. So what happens if somebody uses 6 passes? Is that going to work good on mobile?
Well, it needs to loop through the shader 6 times, and you only have less than, well, you need 60 frames per second, so you don't have a lot of time to do that.
Right. So it would actually render like every pixel 6 times, which is super bad for performance. So all your mobile shaders should be 1 pass.
Yeah. Well, CG program announces that I'm doing CG instead of the Unity basic stuff. Then I define the vertex program and the fragment program. I say that I have a top color, which is a uniform. I need that to link this top color to this. Normally, you can just use a float form, but because this is with my own fragment and vertex program, I need to do it like this. And then the vert out. This is passed through to the fragment shader. You have this. Here I pass through the vertex position, and here the screen position to the shader, and that is then passed through to the fragment program, and that uses the world coordinates to say to determine what color I want to use.
Right. Some background around that. So for the vertex program, that's run for every vertex in the polygon. So individual polygon vertices versus the fragment shader, which runs on every pixel. So your vertex program takes it's more performant than the fragment, because the fragment has more work to do for every pixel, and it's going to interpolate.
A fragment shader is also called a pixel shader. Yeah, so that's my shader for this level. Wait, you can see that right.
So you're scaling your own W chord. So that's calculating the world position. So what is that source?
I get the screen position out of the position of the vertex. And based on that, I make the color of that point, of that
Gotcha.
pixel.
So the cool thing about this is you're not actually using a texture then.
No.
It's calculating its own color.
Yeah, I should still check if this runs very well, but it should run pretty smooth.
We have a very good question in from Ludophobia, and it's relevant to what Jared was talking about free to games. So, hey guys, how about some tips on kickstarting a game? So maybe it's not specifically related to that, but probably have some good tips there for using Kickstarter to play games. I can go first.
Yeah, go for it. You are the master Kickstarter. One of the key people behind the OUYA Kickstarter itself.
Oh, you. No. So I think, just speaking personally, that a video is important. I like a cool one, like a good one, and it helps to be funny.
Yeah. So how did you get by?
I don't know. That's Matt. We cherish him. What else do you think, guys?
I would say, well, I mean, things that have been definitely happening more, and I think Kelly might also confirm this, but I think we're seeing more games that will have some sort of playable demo with their Kickstarter campaign that you can play in some fashion. I thought Captain Bra 2 was smart to release the original, or the first game on OUYA around the same time that their campaign launched, so that people could get a taste of the first game and get excited to donate money to the sequel. But any kind of little demo you've got would be good. I think also rewards that make sense. That if it's a reward that you wouldn't really want to get, it's probably not a reward that someone else isn't going to probably want to go after as well. So really, think of value for it, but also don't create gifts or rewards that you won't be able to properly afford to be able to provide later on. Like, you don't want your entire budget, like, oh, I got all these shirts. Oh, crap, I spent all my money on the shirts or these rewards. I'm not spending it on my game now. So definitely strategize that for yourself. And remember, do your campaign, there is a cut taken by, it's either Kickstarter or Amazon that you want to kind of factor in your total, so don't accidentally cut yourself short.
And taxes as well.
Yes.
Look into what taxes will apply depending on where you live.
Yeah. I know they're in the UK. Also, what's a good way of getting the word out about your Kickstarter is always important. Whether or not you design it properly, you still need to get the word out. That's why I don't know.
Oh, I mean,
I'm asking you guys.
I mean, it depends. It depends on your contacts, right? I mean, some people have, general press contacts in general. I don't know the Kickstarter scene. I know there's a lot of Kickstarter websites or funding websites out there. So there's a difference between some person launching a game on their own versus someone, I would say, like Crescent Moon Games, right, with the Dear God that was successfully funded. They had a really cool video. They did a lot of things right. But again, they had contacts in the industry from previous things that they've done. What I would suggest, actually, is go to the Free the Games Fund website and look at the games that have been successfully funded you can still go to their campaigns and watch their original videos and how they've set them up. So you've got 17 to look at right there. So I would definitely check all of them out for inspiration, for good rewards, visuals. They also did a lot of updates during their campaign at certain milestones of where they were with new information to keep the community live and active. And the other thing, again, for any campaign, I guess that's be tied to OUYA, I highly recommend going to OUYAforum.com and giving our super fans and other devs there a heads up before you launch a campaign or relaunch it, because you can get them pretty excited before that happens to get a nice little push at launch and to have them kind of be advocates for you.
The same on like sites like NeoGAF and Reddit. You know, any active online gaming community that you're involved with, like lean on them. And then also the only thing I'd add, which I totally agree with everything Bob and Jared have said, is also keeping up with those updates during your campaign. I feel like a lot of the successful campaigns I've seen are ones that are doing regular messaging to the backers, leaning on them to tweet and spread socially, get people they know to contribute as well. And then also updating your tiers as it progresses. I've seen a lot lately is people where they have tiers that are maybe the larger tiers. They'll then have sort of meaningful upgrades to those tiers. So if you add another $50 and you also get this thing. So Cat Lateral did that, and then also the Luxurious Superbia developer, Tale of Tales, they just had a really successful Kickstarter that you can check out as good examples, I think.
Yeah, I back that one. They did a good job of presenting that as a really compelling experience.
Mm-hmm.
I've also seen some people kind of hurt themselves by kind of throwing everything out there early on, or say this is the goal we need to hit or want to hit for a Free the Games campaign or something like that. Whereas, again, it's a little bit of more of a tricky balancing act. But let's say maybe ultimately your goal is 20,000 that you may want to hit. You could start at 15, and then since it's easier to hit, you hit that and create some stretch goals to get to that 20 or something like that you want to do for additional awards. But again, you definitely want to make sure you budget it within your means. But yeah, I'd say that's pretty much it. Or Twitter or any of those accounts, you definitely want to have them available so you can promote or be able to be tagged by those other people. It's been a shame in the past where there's been some really good games that have had campaigns, or just even around, they just don't have a Twitter handle that we can't tag in a promo or something like that. You just want to make sure you get all that good traffic going back to you, or something that people can link to.
And they followed up and said, assume no context. So that would be assuming that you're very starting at the ground up, and you're going at this. Mm-hmm. I think that there's a lot of real world work that you could do to sort of build those contexts. I don't know. It's kind of invaluable to have some people in the industry that are, or in any form, that are willing to back you up, and if they have any social clout. Have there been some examples of Kickstarters, maybe just Free the Games, that have asked other OUYA games to tweet them or anything like that?
I don't.
Do you guys
off the top of my head, I don't remember.
Also, getting feedback before you actually launch the campaign, I think, is super helpful. And then also, it's just one of those things. There's the phrase when you want money, ask for advice. When you want advice, ask for money.
You talk about that I've gotten other industry people.
Is that Jared?
Yeah,
I didn't hear any.
Went weird.
Yeah, the whole stream went weird for me too. Kelly sounded like she was in the Matrix.
By the way, can I have my Kickstarter. I'm going to wait first. I'm going to reboot my Kickstarter.
All right.
So I left that in the comments thing.
Okay,
if you want to look at it, maybe, and give some feedback.
Yes, So you're doing the whole stretch goal thing, right? That's
Oh
kind of
my
a
god,
unique
it's
thing.
walking.
Yeah. But something special about your Kickstarter is you're doing stretch goals, which will be expansions, right, or DLCs.
Yeah. I'm working on the Titan Temple DLC now, and when I'm finished with that, I'll launch my Kickstarter in a few weeks, maybe, and then I'll make all the other DLC that I originally had plans to release with a full game.
Right. So that kind of goes along with what Jared was saying about making good rewards. Like each of your stretch goals is a reward in itself almost by giving them more DLC and more content that they can play. So you have your base game, and then you've got like 2 or 3 other stretch goals, which are whole expansions, right?
Yeah.
Matt, just on topic, Matthew Martinez said, OUYAForum.com also has a lot of articles and people that have run Kickstarters that are willing to help. So it's a pretty cool, active community that try to reference as much as possible in these sorts of hangouts. It's OUYAForum.com. And yeah, there's a lot of that stuff, and you can actually just search probably Kickstarter, and there'd be a lot of relevant threads.
We've also had a last little comment there. We've also had some people with Kickstarter campaigns, like Elysian Shadows and a couple others, get on the OUYA Central TV weekend OUYA cast. So you should reach out to them. They're always happy to interview developers and promote their campaigns. So definitely reach out to them.
There's a Captain Bra question. Rewards for Gathering include OUYA codes or just Steam codes? Guys running the Kickstarter don't know.
What was this?
I was going to say they would know, but apparently they don't. Will the rewards for their game include OUYA codes or just Steam codes? That would be
Oh, it would they have to have OUYA codes available.
You'll get an OUYA code along. I think a lot of times the Kickstarter folks will ping their backers before they send all that stuff out and say, what version of the game do you want? And they'll send you a code for whatever versions you've chipped in for.
Mm-hmm. Matthew has a couple of questions that are relevant to next iterations of OUYA.
It's like we said last time.
What?
It'll show up when it shows up.
Yeah. Yeah, we'll specifically just have dev type answers in this hangout. No. But yes. Soon. I don't know what this means. Cool.
Cuckoo, man.
The part
Like
where
a
you were
clock.
providing your answer cut out perfectly. It was like you were redacted live.
We're out of time, you guys.
Yep.
I don't know if you... Do you want to rapid fire it? The food game?
Oh, food game?
Yeah.
Alex says he has a good one, so.
Okay, so we had grilled chicken breast with a cucumber slaw on top of it, which was super good. Not cucumber, sorry, celery. And then we had fresh homegrown tomatoes, and then eggplant with tomatoes and mozzarella and basil. So it's like one of those whatchamacallits, except with an eggplant base instead of a tomato base. Really good. And then some fancy wine.
Fancy wine.
We were in Tahoe, so we were just looking at the forest with like blue jays and deer and stuff walking around.
The setting is
It added to the ambiance.
Yeah.
Did the blue jays fly around your neck and tuck your napkins in and everything?
They're different.
I had a really good granola bar a few minutes ago.
Yeah.
What about you, Tim Groutman?
You won't be able to top this. So I was stepping out of my kayak or trying to get in the water, and I had a face full of sand I ate. It was pretty good. Did it? Just kind of, fell out of the boat, ate some sand, and took a few days off from that. It was so good. But I went back out again, so the sand didn't get me down.
Yep, Kelly.
I guess it would be the oyster sampler plate I had last week. We went out for lunch near the office, which is near the ocean, which has oysters, and that was pretty good.
That is pretty awesome sounding. Mr. Jared Yeager.
Yeah, I'd say that lunch was quite good. I did not get the oysters, but they had one of the most delicious bowls of little neck clam chowder with the actual clam meat in the shells in the milky broth and oyster crackers, and then also came with these two. They're basically like fish and chip cod fish tacos that were really, really good.
Fish tacos?
Yes. And then later that night, it's not the same meal, but I will say my wife got this. She picked up the best seedless watermelon that I've had in the longest time. It was just like super refreshing, like really, really good.
It's a good submission. Is Eddie available to play the food game? Give him a minute.
You're muted.
Not a literal minute, but a window. Okay.
Can you go to Cohen?
I'm passing on to Cohen. What about you, Cohen?
What? What did I eat? I didn't eat much. I don't have enough money, so buy my DLC.
There you have it.
One more question came in. Is it normal for the controller to lag during games like Dead Trigger 2 or Shadowgun? I'm assuming Dead Trigger 2 is sideloaded because we don't have it in the store, so that could be possible since there's no official controller implemented. Shadowgun, less likely.
Yeah, it's possible they may have an earlier version of the controller that doesn't have the latest firmware update.
Matthew W. says watermelon. And on that note,
We're gonna go get lunch.
yeah, I'm hungry.
See you
So,
guys.
for Mr. Alex Doherty.
No, I get to say goodbye myself.
Oh, okay.
I'm right here.
Okay.
Come on. Goodbye.
Bye. Mr. Tim Grauman.
Yeah.
Yago.
Bye.
Jared Yeager.
Yo!
No, bye.
Bye! Crap, I missed
Bye.
the ending.
Eddie.
How did
and
we do this?
Finreal. Bye, guys. See you next week. And Brock.